Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Front Row Access Podcast. I am your host, Steven Russo.
Anthony Gonzalez here.
Let's fucking get it,
We
yo.
have achieved Yeet Stat 2.
We have gotten the Yeet back. The
We
Yeet
got
is
the
in
pick,
fact here.
The Fro is back. We are on track.
We are on track to very good things. The Fro's back, return of the Fro, obviously. I wish I could say the same about myself, but I'm pretty no Yeet right now. My right ankle is absolutely destroyed, and I cannot even bear weight on it. I did nothing but weightlifting this whole week. Not a single ounce of wrestling or kickboxing. I'm going mad out here, okay? I have just been living the gym bro lifestyle, and let me tell you, man, I'm like, okay, this is fun, but like this isn't quite what I was looking for, you know? This isn't quite what I signed up to do, you know?
Well, it could have been worse. We saw those fitness fiascos earlier.
Oh, yeah. We were just watching a bunch of fitness fail videos at Buffalo Wild Wings down the road from here, and Jesus
amazing.
Christ, it was amazing. Every single bit of it was absolutely tremendous.
We are glad that was captured on video.
It was, like, it makes you wonder, were they, like, staged or not? But I don't know if they were staged or not, but, man, fuck it! Next week, y'all, guess what? Guess what, guys? Guess what? There's a UFC pay-per-view next week, and it's coming live from England in the UK, and it's quite the banging pay-per-view card. Obviously, it's not happening this weekend. It is happening next weekend at the time of this recording. It is July 19th. It's a Friday, and so, yeah, we're making this well in advance, but so we can get a lot of circulation with this particular episode, because this is actually a pretty fucking good card, you know? So we want to get as many eyes on it as possible. But
I just hope people show up.
yeah, let's just hope people, show up.
We don't need broken toes.
No broken toes, no weight misses. Let's
whatever the hell Covington did last time.
whatever the fuck Covington did last time, or somebody catches whatever the hell Brian Ortega had right before that last fight when they had to change it literally the day of the fight. I don't know, man, but yeah, it's crazy times we're living in. Crazy.
At the
crazy
time of the
times.
recording, all the information we are providing to you is accurate to the best of our knowledge.
Yes. So, and make that apparent. And obviously, this week we do have a fight card coming up. It is, I believe it's Amanda Lemos versus Jandaroba, which, to be honest, it's a bit of a miscard. It's not a whole lot of excitement other than, well, the main event. So,
Lemos has to show up.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
she's been quite the skid lately.
So,
not
you gotta
too
show
fun.
us something, Lemos.
Come on, Lemos.
Why were you there in the first place?
Show us why you were in that title fight that you got absolutely dominated in. And but it's just it's kind of a miscard, to be honest. I'm more intrigued by the Jake Paul versus Mike Perry fight this weekend than the UFC card, if I'm being completely and totally honest with you. But I'll probably just watch that boxing match in a perfectly legal way, you know? And then
as legal as the fight.
As legal as the fights, you know? And so I'm taking Mike Perry to absolutely demolish Jake Paul here.
I got Perry for this too.
I don't really need to break it down, man, but Mike Perry's just the king of violence. He said it himself. He's obviously bare knuckle boxing's biggest fan. The biggest, not biggest fan, his biggest draw is Mike Perry right now. And it's kind of nice because, Mike Perry never really found his footing in the UFC, never really got the right fights, never really beat the right people to get to the top, and, Dana didn't really like him all that much, I think. So, naturally, what happened, he departs from the company, but then he goes and he found his footing in bare knuckle, and to be honest, I'm very excited that he's there. I'm very excited that he's partaking in it, and, I think it's a good thing for him, I'm happy he finally found his thing,
I want to see who will out-violence each other, him or the Diazes.
Oh, man, that would be a fight to see, wouldn't it? Let's put one of the Diaz brothers against Mike Perry.
Let's get on Extreme Rules, too.
Make an Extreme Rules match, everybody taking table bumps and shit. But, nah. That's going to be quite the boxing match, obviously. I'm going to probably be more intrigued with that than I am with this UFC fight card this weekend, because, to be honest, I think the UFC just uses the UFC Apex fights to just make shit fight cards, man. Like, every single time they're at the goddamn Apex, it's shit. Like, and I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, I don't know,
Well,
man.
maybe we'll get Buffer this week.
Maybe we will, but like, if we do, I mean, it's Buffer at the apex, bro. That kind of ruins the aura of Buffer. Buffer needs that audience to become the ultimate version of Bruce Buffer. Obviously, he could do it on his own just fine.
I was surprised I didn't see him in the Denver one.
Yeah, I was shocked. They brought out fucking the other guy. What the hell's his name? Joe Martinez, I believe.
Yeah.
They brought out the other guy for that one. I didn't know why they didn't make him the one for Denver. Usually on those special fight nights where they have him in like arenas and locations that people actually care about and make fight nights that people actually give a shit about, then they usually bring out Bruce Buffer for that shit. I mean, fuck, man, I ain't Dana White. Hopefully we get less and less events at the Apex so we can have better fight cards. You know what I'm saying?
You're not Dana White? I've been lied to this whole time.
Yeah. I ain't Dana White though. Speaking of Dana White, he was just at the Republican National Convention, introduced Donald Trump to the stage. So that was to be expected. I mean, there's no secret. Dana White is very much on that side of the political aisle. But we ain't got to get too much.
I heard there was a bit of Hulkamania there.
Oh, yeah? There was some Hulkamania at the Republican National Convention. He got up there and cut a whole 80s-like promo. He fucking ripped his shirt off at the end. It was I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
He's back.
Oh, boy. Jeez. Oh, boy. Oh, but they had the Titantron for him, everything. They played his fucking entrance music. I'm like, oh, my goodness. Where is... It was fun. It was fun to watch, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I'm like, at a political convention, do you really need that? You know, should be more.
You don't think a shirt ripping off when
No, I don't really think about that when I'm trying to see who I'm gonna vote for this November.
It must just be a you thing.
Yeah, it probably is. It probably is. But anyway, before we get into this lovely fight card, we got Pepsi. Pepsi hit us up. We got Mountain Dew Spark with us here today. And let's go over some UFC 304, shall we? You go coming live from England in the UK. I want to say it's Birmingham, England, or is it Manchester? It's one of the fucking two. It's in England regardless. But it's going to be a good little fight night, I think, It's Oh, that's Anthony's bud. Just leave that there for now, okay? Sorry, y'all. My brother just coming up and saying what up to all of us. And then anyway, so this is actually a pretty good fight card. A lot of English fighters on this card, but all these English fighters are pretty prominent in the scene. We all know them. We all love them. And maybe not love all of them.
One of them.
One of them.
Not for me.
Yeah.
The rest, I respect what he does, but no.
Mm-hmm. And as always, go and follow all the socials. We are Front Row Access. We're on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter because fuck Facebook. And that's that, all right? UFC 304.
You know, that's probably why we're not getting any advertising. You're misadvertising it. It's X, actually.
God, you know what? Let me know in the comments who the fuck actually calls Twitter X. I'm sorry, Elon Musk. Just because you bought Twitter and renamed it X and made it your whole little thing, that's fine. Do what you got to do with the billions of dollars that you have. But it doesn't mean that everybody's necessarily going to call it X. And I'm going to stop pretending that that's what is going to happen, because it's not what's going to happen. It's been Twitter for 15 years, man. But
what if he sponsors us to make sure we say it's X?
Then it's fucking X. This is why I don't get advertisements, y'all. But anyway, overview. UFC 304. Obviously, top of the bill, we have Leon Edwards defending his welterweight title finally against Bilal Muhammad, who also finally got his title shot. Now that movement's happening, I'm pretty happy with how it's going. I mean, that last fight, that last time out with Leon Edwards when he fought Colby, obviously destroyed Colby.
You were very excited for the last title
I
fight.
was, because I wanted Colby. I made such a good case for Colby Covington. And then he performed like absolute shit. And guess what? The minute I start getting excited for him to fight again against Ian Gary, he ducks him. And I'm like, Colby.
To be fair, and let's be honest, would you take a fight against Ian Gary?
No. No. But I'm also not a professional fighter. So, I
think you have one in your career.
What?
Wasn't that one official? New England Taekwondo, the
Oh yeah,
Magic.
I do have
So
one. I do have one guy. I do have one guy.
So I mean, you kind of consider you're an official MMA fighter.
In a way, yeah. I mean, at my gym, New England Taekwondo, it was one of our guys. He fought against Mitch Raposo, and Mitch Raposo is he trains at in Fall River, Massachusetts, and he had an amateur kickboxing fight, an absolute war with one person from my gym, and obviously Mitch went on to the Ultimate Fighter, and he went pro and did all of that, and now he's in the UFC now. But still, it's kind of cool seeing. Of course, I mentioned it when we went over 302, but like it's kind of cool seeing like I was sitting there at a UFC event and I'm watching somebody that fought a dude from my gym like 10 years back. So that's pretty fucking cool, man. But regardless, though, obviously at the top of the bill we have Leon Edwards and Bilal Muhammad. This is their second meeting actually. They had a fight back in 2020 that ended in a no contest, but we'll get back to that after we get to that fight.
Once we narrow in on it.
Once we narrow in on it, obviously we'll go over the history. And then obviously we also have Tom Aspinall defending the fucking interim championship against Curtis Blades. Of course, I'm very pissed off that he even has to defend an interim belt.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sentence doesn't feel right.
But more on that when we get to that fight. Then we also have Arnold Allen and Giga Chikadze. That's going to be quite the fight. That's going to be quite the fight. Both very similar build guys, both kickboxers, both very fast, very powerful. One's from Georgia, one's from England. Let's see who fucking wins. Right. And then we also have Muhammad Makayev versus Manel Kopp. Obviously, this fight was supposed to happen, I believe, last January. And obviously, it didn't materialize. One of the guys pulled out. I think it was Kopp. I could be completely wrong. But these guys are their newer flyweights. They're starting to make their way into that top 5 area. They're number 6 and number 7. I think the winner of this fight probably gets a top 5 fight. Now, originally when I wrote these notes, flyweight was pretty backed up and we didn't really have a direction for it. So obviously I have written on here that it could be a possible title eliminator, but obviously that's not the case now that we have Steve Urseg and Kai Kara-France fighting on the UFC 305 card in August. So that's going to be the title eliminator for flyweight. So then we'll see who Mr. Alessandro Pantoja faces after them two go at it. Is it Urseg again? The guy that actually came in and did pretty well against the guy. He just made a mistake of trying to wrestle him at the end. I'm like, dude, I get it. You were a wrestler when you were young, but like, dude, don't grapple with Alessandro Pantoja, man. Don't do it. And then obviously, or it could be Kai Kara-France, who I don't think has faced Alessandro Pantoja at all. And if he did, it was like a million years ago. But I don't think that either of the guys have history there. So that's the obvious title eliminator. But of course, we'll go more in depth with that when we make the 305 podcast. That's gonna be in a couple weeks, though.
As a side note, has Figueroa ever fought Pantoja?
Figueiredo and Pantoja. I think his first title defense was against Pantoja. I could be wrong. I'd have to double check that. I can't double check it right now. I don't have my phone.
Yeah, I just like Figueroa, and he was impressive in his weight change. So I just want to see more from the guy.
I mean, I think he's definitely better at 135, and the power definitely transferred over, and it's less taxing on his body, to say the least, to make that weight.
When's he fighting?
I don't know. I mean, he just fought on 300. That was back in April. He absolutely destroyed Cody Garbrandt. So, I mean, whoever he fights next should be absolutely incredible. Because bantamweight's a pretty good moving division right now. I gotta say, I think bantamweight's the only division that's functioning as a UFC weight division should function right now. There's a champion at the top that everybody's chasing after, and there's clear-cut number 1 contenders down the line. And, there's no mix-ups, there's no interim championships, there's no politics, there's nothing. Well, there's maybe a little bit of politics in favor of Sean O'Malley. That Cheeto fight was a little bit... Why did this happen in the first place besides to give O'Malley a chance to...
a little strong-armed.
Yeah, it was a little strong-armed, but it also, I mean, made sense, I guess, in a way, even though fucking Cheeto got 10-7. 10-fucking-7 by fucking Corey Sandhagen earlier that year, and then fights for the title. And I'm like, what? But regardless, besides that, bantamweight's the only division that's functioning as a weight division right now pretty cleanly. Because you got that one active champion that fights rather often, and then you got a bunch of contenders that are just lined up for him. But featherweight's it's a little bit because you don't know what the fuck Max Holloway's gonna do. If he's gonna go back down, try to fight him, or if he's gonna stay up. Obviously, you have Volkanovski always in there. Whatever his next fight is, it's gonna be for a championship. So, and then you also got Ilya Taporia, who is your featherweight champion, who doesn't fight a whole lot, guys. He really doesn't.
He just fights the right people at the right time.
Exactly. He fought Volk at the perfect time to fight Volk, having come off of a knockout, a loss to Islam Makhachev. So, I mean, now handing him a second knockout loss in a row, god damn it. And, but that's the only part that's got me messed up about 145 because it's just Ilya, man. You don't fight people. And you're already starting to call for super fights with Conor McGregor or Sean O'Malley. I'm like, dude, you just beat Volk. Defend your goddamn belt first, and then let's think about it. And you also have, but 155 Makachev at the top, obviously, who's only been rematching people lately, it seems. But I mean, it's because the top 5 of lightweight has been there for so damn long, and there's barely any movement there because I don't know what the fuck this old guard of the lightweight division's on, but they're still going.
Yes, they're on yes.
They're on just fucking Yeselmania type fucking bullshit. So, but regardless, I like bantamweight right now. It's like the only functional division. And then obviously flyweight, we'll have this as a person who fights for top 5 next, this Makayev and Kopp fight. And then obviously we're going to start the card with a lightweight bout between Bobby Green and Paddy Pimblett. To be honest, either way, I'm going to fucking lose this one. I'll be completely and totally honest with you. Let's just get into this one, right? Because we're going to go down the line now. And
I'll get through it quickly.
But regardless, Bobby Green, been a bit of a career resurgence for him lately until, getting that 2-win streak, one of the wins being against Tony Ferguson, who obviously had that crazy win streak back in like 2000, from 2015 to 19. He had that crazy win streak. Obviously, beating an aging Tony Ferguson is not as big of an accomplishment now as it would have been 5 years ago. But it's Bobby Green still beat Tony Ferguson. And then he also beat another guy earlier that year. I forgot who he faced. But then at the end or the beginning of this year, he faces Jalen Turner. And Jalen Turner just completely fucking wrecks him. And let's be honest, that rev stopped the fight a little bit late. I mean, I'm all for Bobby Green getting his skull knocked around a little bit. I'll be honest with you. But, I mean, that was a little bit too much, man. I mean, the dude's 39 years old. He can't be taking too many things like that. Jalen Turner, he's like 28. He can do it. but like, man, that ref had something against Bobby Green, man. I swear. He stepped in to stop that fight pretty late because Bobby Green got knocked out, woke up, got pounded on, knocked out again, and then got pounded on a little bit more, and then the ref finally pushed him off. And I'm like, God damn, are you trying to kill the dude? Did you have money on him? Did you bet the house on him? Is that what happened? Or did you just really have something against Bobby Green at that current moment in time? I mean, I couldn't blame you if you did. Bobby Green's a little bit. He doesn't.
He would have probably let it keep going, but I think Strickland gave him a look that said, "You better let that guy live."
Mm-hmm. And obviously, Paddy Pimblett, his last time out was in December against Tony Ferguson, to which he beat Tony Ferguson in a decision. Like, goddamn. What the fuck? What the hell, man? No. Tony Ferguson didn't get to ride off into the sunset that night.
Yeah, remember that fighter earlier we mentioned that I'm not too enthused about in England? That's Pimblett.
Oh, don't unplug the top plug for that one. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Pimblett fan, and for me, this fight ends well for me if the Pimblett hype trail gets derailed, but that's probably just my own bias.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you it's not,
I mean, I think most of the public has gotten pretty annoyed with Paddy Pimblett at this point in time.
Theoretically, if you want my actual prediction, the younger fighter is gonna win this one.
Yeah,
That's just
just I think Paddy Pimblett's gonna beat him.
that's just
Uh, just it is what it is at this point because I mean we're gonna lose either way with this fight,
Yeah, I was
but
gonna say, can we say either way? As I think the people who win during this fight are the fans in England who get to watch it.
yeah, just about because I mean they're gonna go balls to the wall. These two, just the nature of Bobby Green and the nature of Paddy Pimblett, they kind of just let their chins go way up high and just start fucking swinging at each other. No technique. What are you talking about? What the fuck is a technique? And we're just gonna go out there and we're gonna swing. But I think overall, if we want to actually go over a fight breakdown, Bobby Green is decent on the ground, especially in the offensive wrestling department. But he can't jujitsu for the life of him. I mean, yeah, he submitted Tony Ferguson, but that was a go-ahead arm triangle. Pretty much, Tony Ferguson kind of fell into an arm triangle at that point. But Paddy Pimblett's much more of a wizard on the ground. So if it does end up getting contested in the ground war, I would give the edge to Paddy Pimblett. I mean, the dude is annoying as shit, but like at least he's somewhat charismatic and brings a little bit of a something to the fight rather than
Not for
just
me.
being a total fucking dickhead like Bobby Green. But it's just he is annoying though, Mr. Pimblett. But if I did have to go with, I mean, obviously Bobby got KO'd in his last fight. Patty got that unanimous decision against Tony Ferguson. But I think, yeah, it's gonna be Mr. Paddy Pimblett is gonna get the dub here.
Come on, my breakdown here. Bobby Green, 39. He's a veteran. Yeah, he's been at it for a while. He's done things and whatnot, but he's never really risen too high in the ranks. As far as the fighters he's taking now, he took down what, an old Tony.
He took down an aging Tony Ferguson,
And he
and
said he had another win.
he had another win that he had another win. I forgot the dude.
Someone that our
Maybe.
that the name isn't coming to mind right now.
Yeah.
So I would say that Pimblett, with his youth and exuberance and his better jiu-jitsu, would probably take the win. If I had to, how many rounds is it?
It's a 3-rounder.
3 round, yeah. Second round submission.
Second round submission for Patty. Yeah, I think that's a decent prediction right there. I mean, the only way that I could see Patty losing this fight, if I'm being completely and totally honest, is if he just walks into a shot from Bobby Green, which can happen.
Right.
I mean, I mean, Patty Pimblett's defense isn't all that great, but he'll forever deny it. He'll be like, "I'm a scouser. I'm a fucking scouser. We don't get knocked out." I'm like, dude, somebody's gonna find your chin one day just because you said it. I don't want it to be Bobby Green, but it could be Bobby Green. That's the thing. And but I don't know, man.
Let's put him in the baddest motherfucker title shot.
Let's put him in a BMF title fight against fucking Max Holloway. Yeah. Let's see how well your Scouser ass actually is able to destroy it. Actually, compete with somebody. I'm like, yeah, nah, bro. If you want to go up against Max Holloway, man, I'm sorry. Your punches don't have that much steam behind them. I obviously in your debut, Patty, you won by a TKO, but you had to hit him like 20 different times in the face before he finally got called. I mean, the dude could have just had a good chin, or it's either that or your hands are pillows, Patty. I'm sorry. Not everybody's got that punch power, man. Sometimes we have to out volume our opponents, and that's what you did. But still, you do not have that one shot power. You know who does? Bobby Green. So I mean, I'm assuming if Paddy Pimblett can keep his head on
away from the fist.
chin away from the fist, and look for the takedowns, look for clinches, and just try to pick them apart while staying away from, because Bobby Green's gonna rush. That's just who Bobby Green is. He's gonna rush.
He's only done it for like the past entirety of his career. He'll only keep doing it for the remainder of his career.
He's gonna rush at you because he knows he's got that smoke in his hand. Because Bobby Green do got that smoke. Don't get me wrong, Bobby Green got the smoke, but he's gonna rush at you if you can stay on the outside and cut some angles, look for some level changes, really capitalize on, like, if you slip a strike or he misses, like totally whiffs on a strike, then you go in there with a clinch, try to get the body lock, take him down, or get him against the fence. Just hold him there, make it a grind fest for him, get you to go, and then
Nah,
or
he's later in
yeah,
the.
get the grind fest going, or look for a trip, takedown, something, because Bobby Green's takedown defense, especially if you shoot in on him, is pretty damn good. So I don't know if Patty's gonna be shooting on him. I think if he's gonna take him down, it's gonna come from a body lock, or it's gonna come from a clinch position, and he's just gonna trip him or toss him, and then that's how it's gonna get done. But regardless, I'm gonna have to go with your same prediction and saying Patty Pimblett's got this by a second round submission.
I just thought of something hilarious.
Yes.
What if, just to prove us wrong, like Bobby Green rushes in and he just gets knocked out, just a fist, right?
Just a fist.
Just
Just
runs
bang.
right into Patty Pimblett's pillowfish.
And dies.
I'd be like, I just look over at you like, had to say something.
Yeah, knowing me, knowing my track record and the things that I say on here, they don't usually end up materializing. And then the ones that do end up materializing, I didn't want to materialize.
I'd be like, you just multiplied his type train.
Yep. Yeah. I mean,
be like, I told you, I got that power. He knocked himself out.
basically, man, Bobby Green's gonna rush, and he can very much run into a Patty Pimblett pillow punch. And then when he runs into it, I don't care how tough you are. If you run into a punch, you're gonna go down. It's the same as, yeah, man.
And he's gonna hit knockout of the year too.
Imagine. I'm gonna be like, God fucking damn it. I just had to say something, nah.
Yep.
But, regardless, though, we're losing either way with this fight. I think it should still be an entertaining fight, though. Regardless if you like the dudes fighting or not. We obviously
what
don't.
This does
but
more too is it will help us determine where Pimblett's career goes after this, because Bobby is 39, you said, so
39, 38, hanging around there. Yeah.
His career, it's in the twilight era, as I'll say.
It's at the end of it.
Can still gasses up, so where he goes is still up in the air. And with how much he's liked by frickin' Rogan and White and whatnot, I could see him getting launched. Kind of like, winning a championship and then getting that one match that you lost in.
Yeah. Yeah, that one match that you lost in just so you can get it back. Patty Pimblett to this point is undefeated in the UFC, though. He has not lost a fight, even though he probably should have lost that fight against Jared Gordon back in December of 2022. That was a straight robbery. Poor Jared Gordon. He lost to this annoying little Liverpoolian. And, it is what it is. But, it's gonna be a good fight for this one. I mean, I'm expecting it to be entertaining. Obviously, I just don't like either of them all that much.
I mean, the crowd will definitely
want Patty,
so.
easy.
So when he enters, it's gonna be entertaining.
Gonna be he's gonna throw a little show. He's gonna do his little hand thing. He's coming down. He's gonna do his little thing. And like, god damn it, dude. Just shut the fuck up. He's gonna come in. His hair's gonna be all sorts of bowl cuts. Gonna be flowing with the wind. But anyway, we also got a pretty good match at flyweight coming up next after that one. So I'm actually pretty good with how this card is opening. I mean, you got obviously the prospect versus the veteran to start the card off, a big name versus a guy that's been there. And now you got these two new guys at flyweight, Manel Kopp and Muhammad Mokaev, that have been doing pretty well in the flyweight division as of late. They were pretty much on a collision course to meet each other at some point. They've been running at about the same pace. So naturally, they were going to meet up at some point. And then when they did, it was almost going to happen. And then, well, unfortunately, I think it was Manel Kopp that got injured or sick or something. Pulled out the fight. There's some bad blood between the two of them. And some bad blood between the two of them. Obviously, they don't really like each other. If you remember the build up to that fight night, or that not even the fight night, the pay-per-view that it was supposed to be on, they didn't like each other. They were throwing barbs at each other. Manel Kopp playing what the heck with this Russian man, and then the Russian, like you said, what about motherland? And then that's just how it went from there. But both of these guys, pretty exciting guys, pretty good all around. Obviously, if you're going to make it a grapple fest, I'm going to say Mokaev has the advantage here. He's definitely the better wrestler. But it's Manel Kopp isn't a stranger when it comes to the ground. He can definitely hang, but I think Cop will have a striking advantage, so it'll come down to who ends up getting it. And I'll be honest, as much as I've been intrigued with Manel Cop lately, I gotta think Muhammad Makayev is the one that ends up winning this fight, despite Manel Cop being making some noise, but they both been making about the same amount of waves lately. Maybe Manel Cop a little bit more so because he fought a little bit more than Makayev did. So obviously more exposure, more eyes on you, more people are gonna start to pay attention, start to catch on and want to follow you, right? But I got to be honest, man. I think I think Makayev's gonna take this, and I think he's gonna. I think it'll be a decision, honestly. But if there ends up being a finish, I think it's gonna come from Makayev. But I think it's gonna end up being a decision. I think he's gonna wrestle his way to victory, make it an absolute like grind grind fest. Just make it uncomfortable for Manel Cop. Just put that pressure on. Use that Dagestani power that he possesses, and that Dagestani plot armor, and then ultimately get another dub for the fucking Dagestani. So yeah, no, I got Muhammad Makayev by a decision for this one.
To be honest, I don't know too much about either of them, so I'm also gonna give it Mikhailov. I can't tell you how though.
Just say fuck it, default to decision. He's gonna win the fight somehow. Whether it's a finish or a decision, he's gonna win somehow.
Yep.
I'm gonna say decision more so. But I think the winner definitely. I think we can both agree on this. Gets a top 5 fight
Yeah, of
next.
course.
Yeah, I think they'll probably fight the loser of Kai Kara France and Steve Urseg when that fight goes down at UFC 305. So whoever wins that fight, I think whoever wins that fight gets the title shot next. Whoever loses that fight goes into a title eliminator against one of these guys. So I'm gonna take up Makayev to get his top 5 shot next, and we'll see what happens. But next up, probably the most besides the co-main and main event, this is probably the most intriguing fight on the whole card because they're just so damn similar, and they both had about the same amount of activity lately, and they're both like very promising looking guys. Obviously, I'm talking about Arnold Allen and Giga Chikadze. They're gonna be going at it on July 27th. I think that's when it's happening. Yeah, that's 7 days from July 20th. So July 27th, they're gonna be going. They're gonna be going at it, and I gotta say, man, both of these guys are very similar. They're built pretty much the same way. They're both pretty long and tall guys. They're both very fast. That's for sure. Both of them have very good mix up on the feet. Good punches, mix in the kicks. Good kicks to mix the punches with. These guys are very seasoned strikers, and they're also not horrible on the ground. But if you want to see them really duke it out, it's going to be in the striking. They're very evenly matched on paper, just based on age. They're both about the same age. I think Arnold Allen is slightly younger than Giga, but obviously Giga's got that crazy body kick that sends people to the fucking floor every single time it lands. The Giga kick, if you guys know it. But we haven't really seen either of these guys in a while. Last time we saw Arnold Allen, he fought in January, and he lost to Movsar Avoyev, who actually that's news that I forgot to cover. Aljamain Sterling and Aljamain Sterling obviously moved up to featherweight on UFC 300 and beat the piss out of Calvin Kattar, to my own dismay, and because I love Calvin Kattar, but he lost to Movsar Avoyev, Mr. Arnold Allen, and now Movsar Avoyev is going to be fighting Aljamain Sterling in this next fight. So that's going to be going down at UFC 308 in October, I believe. I think they signed and dated it already. I think it's all but confirmed. I'm just waiting for Dana White to make that little Instagram video saying that it got released, that they did it. But it's signed. Even Aljamain Sterling posted earlier today, I'm coming for that zero. Obviously, Movsar Avoyev is one of the few remaining undefeated fighters right now. I think it's him, Ian Gary, Ilya Taporia, and Shavkat Rakhmonov that are undefeated, and Hamzat Chimaev that are all still undefeated in the UFC. So he's one of the last remaining undefeated guys, and now we get to see him get tested against Aljamain Sterling. Obviously, I'm not going to go into too much depth with it now, when that time comes, that time will come, and then obviously we'll cover it. But regardless, though, back to Arnold Allen and Giga here. This is going to be a pretty contested fight. I actually am calling this to be fight of the night, if I'm being honest. I think it's going to be really, really fun to watch just because these guys are so similar. They're both young. They're both so fast. They both had mad hype trains that got derailed suddenly. I mean, Arnold Allen had that 11 some odd fight win streak until he ran into Max Holloway. And then obviously, Max Holloway did what Max Holloway does to every contender at featherweight, especially when Volkanovski was still your champion. Just beats him. All right, who's next?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Ilya would have probably been derailed too if he hit Max Holloway.
If he ran into Max Holloway, but obviously, Ilya is very popular in his country, and he has a whole country, the country of Spain, behind his back. And you know what? You know how Dana White likes when a fighter has their whole country on their back, and how hard he pushes those people. Look at Conor McGregor. Look at Paddy Pimblett. Now Ilya Taboria, right? So I think they wanted to just catapult him to get to the top. And then obviously once he got up there, he was fighting Volk at the perfect time. Knocked out Volkanovski in round 2, new champion. And then obviously Max Holloway never got to fight Ilya Taporia. And, even after he knocked out Justin Gaethje in knockout of the year of 2024, like, just wrap it up, bro. Unless we get something really exciting in these next couple of months, I don't think anybody is going to be topping Max Holloway's knockout of Justin Gaethje anytime soon. But obviously, he said after in the post fight conference when he's getting talked to by Joe Rogan, he goes, "There's an El Matador at 145 who's running from a bull, and that bull being Max Holloway, and obviously Ilya El Matador, Topuria." So obviously, he never got that Max Holloway step. He didn't get the Max Holloway step to get to Volk, and now I'm getting ready for Max to just fucking handle this guy. At least I'm hoping. But regardless, I don't think any of these guys are going to be anywhere near the top 5 anytime soon. I think they're really doing this to maintain their top 10 spots. And then maybe they'll get a top 5 fight, but you have to really look at how steep the top 5 of featherweight is. You got Yair up there, you got Josh Emmett up there, you got Max, obviously, you got Brian Ortega up there as well.
Volk.
And Volk, obviously, Volk's still there. Although Volk says his next fight wants to be at lightweight, but regardless, he's still there, and that's a pretty deep division to go through. So I think all of them are gonna need to clear it out in the top 5 first, and then one of these guys can break their way maybe back into the top 5, and obviously Arnold Allen got derailed by Max Holloway. He was England's probably best chance of getting a second champion until Max Holloway happened. And then everybody was like, well, shit. And then Arnold Allen didn't fight a whole lot since then. And hasn't really been making a whole lot of waves lately. And, obviously, last time he did fight, he lost. So that doesn't do you justice either. It's the same with Giga. Giga Chikadze got all the fucking push in the world. Like 2021, 2020, it was all about Giga Chikadze. He was like looking to be like the most scariest prospect at 145 because of that little body kick that he always landed on every single one of his opponent, that Giga kick that he always landed, But, he got absolutely handled by Calvin Kattar in early 2022 and then didn't fight again until August of 2023. He basically just took the rest of 2022 off, and I'm like, where'd the fuck you go, man? You had all the hype in the world until you got fucking handled by Calvin Kattar. But to be honest, it was a pretty close fight, but Calvin Kattar just knew it. He knew what to do, and he just beat his ass. But Giga, man, he hasn't fought since August of 2023, where he did beat Alex Caceres, who is in the middle of a career resurgence for himself. Obviously, trying to correct his not so pretty looking record. He's like 37-15, or something like that. So obviously he's trying to get, or like 27-15. I think 27-15 is more the accurate estimate. I don't remember for sure, but he was in the middle of a pretty big resurgence, but it was a silent resurgence. It was mostly on early prelims, and plus Alex Caceres isn't one to put on a show for the cameras either. And you kind of need to do that when you're a UFC fighter. You need to market yourself. You have to make people care about you.
Brazil, you're a dump.
Exactly. You got to pull a Colby Covington and say Brazil's a dump, or take the easy route and just have be like the only fighter that represents a country and have an ounce of charisma, and then you're good.
By the way, we at Front Row Access Podcast love Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
We love your fighters. We love your style. I was just quoting Kobe.
We were just quoting Colby. I know how much you guys love Colby. Fucking armed guards on his hotel floor, man. After he said that shit. But anyway, this is gonna be a pretty good fight, I would think. They're both strikers. They're top 10. I think Giga is at number 9, and Arnold Allen is at number 6 at the time that I wrote these notes, which was about a month and a half ago now. So I don't know if those rankings have changed. I can't remember right now, but I don't think we've had any like significant fights happen at featherweight. We would have if Diego Lopez and Brian Ortega ended up materializing, but obviously it didn't. And I don't think we really have had any movement much in the featherweight division since then. So those are probably still their rankings now. So they're top 10 right now. I think they're just fighting to stay in their rank right now. They're just defending their top 10 spot. So that maybe once a member of the top 5 loses, once they sort out what's going on at the top 5 of featherweight, then they'll jump in to try to get back in there. But it's going to be a good fight. I'm calling it to be fight of the night. I'm actually really, really fucking excited for Arnold Allen and Giga Chikadze. I think it's going to be a good fight. And if I had to do an early onset prediction, I'm going to take... Oh, man. Who am I going to take? I like both of these guys pretty well. Both of them have very similar skills. Man, who am I going to take? Shit. You know, my gut's telling me Giga. So I'm going to take Giga Chikadze. Either by a decision or a late finish. I think this is a 3-rounder as well. So either a 3rd-round knockout or a decision. What you got, Ant?
I also got Giga for this one.
Yeah, Giga. Mm-hmm. What you thinking?
I'll say late round knockout.
Late round knockout. Because I think it's going to be a really close fight. And I think Arnold Allen's going to look really good at the beginning of the fight. Giga tends to be a bit of a slower starter. Arnold Allen just goes balls to the wall at you as soon as it starts. So it should be an interesting fight. Can't wait to see it go down. I got Giga, but I would not be mad if Arnold Allen won. Because I really don't have a problem with either one of these guys. I like them both at about the same rate. So like I just kind of want to see who the better fighter is going to be. I think it's Giga. Because I think Giga wants to get that same treatment that he was getting back in 2021, 2020. When he was getting like mad pushed and then all of a sudden just disappeared for a year. And we just didn't see him. And now he's trying to get relevant again. Because I think when I told you about Giga, I was like, oh, Giga's fighting again. You're like, huh? Who's that? See, it just goes to show what happens when you don't fight. You lose relevancy, obviously. So, I've got Giga for this, though. And I think it's going to be a great fight. Tremendous fight. And I think it's going to be... I think the English crowd will be perfect for this fight. I think they're going to be at the edge of their seat, especially because Arnold Allen's in there. And I think they're going to be very interactive. But I think that Giga's going to get that slight edge over him and make the hometown boys a little upset. But I'll tell you, it's going to be a little bit of a spoiler for my next one. I don't think they're going to be upset by this next fight. So we got Tom Aspinall, our interim heavyweight champion, defending his fucking interim belt against Curtis Blades. This is their second fight. And before we get into the fight, let me just tell you something. What the absolute fuck, John Jones? What in the hell are you doing? What? Now you have legal trouble that you're dealing with? You've got assault charges? You've been caught for drugs again? And, oh man, a refusal of a drug test, so then you assault the guy. I'm like, oh my god, John Jones, you're in legal trouble again. And you have an interim champion that's just waiting to get his shot at the title. Had to take this stupid fight against Curtis Blades because you won't fight him. And instead you want to fight old man Stipe, who's been quasi-retired for the past 3.5 fucking years. Now you're like, I want to fight that guy. I want to fight him. I think that's the fight to make. And then when people start giving you shit about Stipe, you're like, why don't I fight Alex Pereira? I'm gonna give you shit for Alex Pereira wants to stay at light heavyweight. He wants to defend his belt. Yo, Alex Pereira wants to defend the belt in his weight class. You don't. And you've just been on the sidelines since fucking March of last year. You're supposed to fight old man Stipe in November. Then your little pec went pop. And now, as soon as you're about to maybe fight again, you get into fucking legal trouble. John Jones. John Jones, you're a great fighter. John Jones, you're a great fighter. But dude, what the fuck? You should be stripped of your belt right now because you're facing this legal trouble and because you've been inactive for the past year. You know what happened when people get... You know what happened when fucking Conor McGregor wasn't active in the featherweight division for a year? He got stripped. How you're not getting stripped for being inactive for a year, I don't know. You have the ultimate Dana White privilege. I'm shocked that when Dana White was at the Republican National Convention introducing Donald Trump, he didn't say, but let me tell you about John Jones. Oh my God. And then you're out here saying that you're a better fighter pound for pound than Islam Makhachev. You're not. Not right now. Not right now. And this is me defending Islam. When do I defend Islam? John Jones. John Jones, what the fuck, man? You have left your division. You've left the heavyweight division in absolute fucking ruins. And now your interim champion has to defend his fucking interim belt against a dude that he already faced once. Now, enough about me ripping into John Jones. I think I've gotten that out pretty healthily now. But Jesus Christ, Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blaydes, they fought back in July of 2022, right? At least they were supposed to. I think a minute and a half into the fight, fucking Tom Aspinall just blew his knee out. His knee just decided to give up, and then once the knee gave up, it obviously got called off. The Tom Aspinall obviously had like mad momentum going into this fight. 2022 and 2021 were like his years. He was just building to be this next guy at heavyweight. Then he takes this freak injury against Blaydes in July of that year. Then he's out for a year. And then instantly, as soon as he comes back, becomes relevant again. Does what he does best. Comes in, knocks somebody out, submits them, does something, because Tom Aspinall is one of the most well-rounded fighters in all of the UFC right now. This guy does it all. This is why I want to see John Jones and Tom Aspinall so goddamn bad, because they are both about the same fighter. And they're both.
Doesn't want to see that, though.
But Jones doesn't want to see that because he's scared. Why the fuck would I fight that guy when I can just fight old man Stipe, right? And like, ugh, man, like just let Stipe be a volunteer firefighter, man, getting cats out of trees and shit. Like, just let him do that.
I feel like if they were on stage and it was introduced with Dana White, he's like, John Jones, you will be fighting Aspinall for the belt to unify. And he's like, Jones is looking like, is there anyone else?
Is there anybody else that I can fight other than Tom Aspinall? I'm like, oh my God. Now heavyweight's in fucking ruins. It's terrible right now. And now we have an interim champion defending an interim belt, which doesn't happen. When you're an interim champion, you are supposed to be the next one in line to face the champion. But nope. Nope.
The champion don't want to fight you.
But the champion don't want to fight you. So here we are. And obviously Curtis Blaydes took a victory in Tom Aspinall in their first fight. But this rematch is going to be pretty freaking insane. You know, I think it's going to be a good fight. But ultimately, obviously, you have Tom Aspinall, very well-rounded. He's got great jiu-jitsu. He's got great kickboxing. He's got great boxing. This dude has great clinch striking, clinch work. You know, he's got it. He's got it all, man. He's doing pretty good. Obviously, his last fight was against Sergey Pavlovich, who just made all sorts of waves in 2022 and 23. Just knocking people out. Didn't matter who it was. Whoever stepped in front of this man got knocked out. I think Curtis Blaydes was one of them. And anybody who stepped in front of this guy, knocked out. And then I had this lingering fear that Tom Aspinall was next on the Sergey Pavlovich dinner menu. But nope. Guess what Tom Aspinall does? Knocks the dude that's been knocking everybody else out. Knocks him out. And wins the interim championship. First round. It was incredible to see. I think I was screaming in absolute happiness when Tom Aspinall flatlined him. And he got him bad, too. He got him real bad. Dude didn't get up for a minute. And now, that's when he gets the interim championship. And now Curtis Blades, obviously coming off of a win against Jailton Almeida back in March of this year. When, Almeida was trying to been making waves all through 2023. This was his shot to get into the top 5 of heavyweight. And then he goes and he shoots in. He hangs on to the legs of Curtis Blades, and which, by the way, Curtis Blades is a tremendous wrestler. Why he tried to shoot on the guy, I don't know. I mean, Jailton Almeida is a great grappler, too. Don't get me wrong. They're both very good on the ground. But then Curtis Blades remembered, oh, shit, I'm a wrestler that can punch people. And then while Jailton Almeida was, just hanging on to his legs, he just starts going. He just starts unleashing the elbows on this dude. Just in rapid succession. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, until the dude eventually fell over. And then just a little bit of ground and pound later, and then sure enough, Curtis Blades stopped yet another hype train. So, obviously, he's looking to squash the momentum of Tom Aspinall. Obviously, Tom Aspinall's stock is very high right now. It's apparent with how I'm talking about him, how Anthony talks about him, how everybody around us talks about Tom Aspinall. Even people in the MMA scene talk about Tom Aspinall. Obviously, we're all very much saying this guy's legit, because he is legit. But we have not seen Tom Aspinall go up against somebody whose main fighting style is wrestling. But will that really matter all that much when it gets down to it, just because Tom Aspinall's so damn good at everything when it comes to heavyweight? Because you think of heavyweight MMA, right? You become a wrestler, you're pretty much the guy that's going to beat everybody, because most of heavyweight is just, I'm big, you're big, let's go out in the middle of the octagon, let's see who gets knocked out first, right? I'm just going to swing a bunch of punches at your head, all sorts of wild, and whoever falls, falls, right? That's heavyweight MMA, basically. It's very, very simple, to say the least. And we love it for that, because it's just two big dudes just going at it. But if you become a wrestler as a heavyweight, or you're really good on the ground as a heavyweight, you're instantly above a lot of other people, right? That's why Curtis Blades has had so much success. Unless, you go up against Derek Lewis, you shoot in on the guy, he gives you an uppercut from fucking hell, and then just kind of throws you over. Obviously, there's always that threat, because
that's a D-Lou specialty.
But that's a D-Lou specialty. D-Lou's got the most knockouts in UFC history. So, I mean, obviously, he's going to find a way to knock you out. But I'm just saying, if you're quick with it and you don't get caught by, a punch on the way in, you time your takedowns well against most of the heavyweight roster, look what happens. You pretty successful, right? I mean, look at what Stipe was able to do to Ngannou in their first fight. How did Stipe win? Because of his wrestling prowess. This dude's from Ohio. He knows how to wrestle, So,
Wrestlers and corn.
Wrestling and corn, that's about all you do in Ohio. And then, fucking...
Oh, not the rock band.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Corn,
No, not that. Yeah. Corn the vegetable, not the new metal band that I absolutely love. But, anyway. It's just, obviously, that's how he was able to beat Ngannou in their first fight. Their second fight, Ngannou was able to stuff Stipe's takedown, which was huge, because if Francis Ngannou could keep that fight standing, he would knock him out, because he's Francis fucking Ngannou. He just touches you, you fucking die, right?
Does he still have the strongest punch, or did someone beat it recently?
I think Alex Pereira beat it recently. But, I mean, I take those measurements with a grain of salt. I mean, I don't know who's taking the measurement. I don't know who's doing it. I don't know what the criteria is. I'm sure it's just force per square inch. But, at the same time, can't always trust everything or what you hear. But I heard that Alex Pereira beat the record. I could be wrong. Or this record could just be complete phony, and this is just what they're doing to market people better. But you never know.
Oh, I think I would take an Ngannou punch before a Pereira one.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to take a punch from either of those guys. Maybe just to say I did it once. But like,
If it was a choice between either or, I'm taking freaking Nagano's.
I'll take Ngannou's punch because Pereira, I mean, I don't know what the fuck this dude has in his left hand.
I don't know if I'm getting back up.
I don't know if I'm getting back up. Dude, he sent some of the best fighters in the fucking world flying with that left hook. And then he just sent Yuri Prohaska flying with a head kick. So I'm like, oh no.
He just needed those two knuckles too. I'm like,
To the bottom two knuckles at that. Those aren't even the knuckles you're supposed to punch with. You're supposed to punch with these ones.
I'll take big guy there. I like my odds better with that one.
I don't know, man. They both just touch you and you fucking die. I think either way, we're both gonna have trouble getting up from either one of those punches, especially me. Dude, I'm 5'7", 135 pounds. I might just fucking die if I eat a punch from either one of those guys.
You won't even go down. You'll be stuck in a wall. You'll be like,
somebody help! Somebody help! Get me out of this fucking wall. But like, back to the heavyweights though. I mean, yeah, they all got strong punches. They're fucking big ass dudes, 265 pounds of man, just coming at you with some fucking hooks and uppercuts and shit. And you know, I'm all set. I don't need that in my life, bro. But obviously, if you have a grappling background, you're gonna do better against these big guys. Look at what Stipe did against Ngannou in the first fight. Look at what Curtis Blades was able to do against, I guess, Jalen Almeida at this point. But just look at what even Ngannou did to Cyril Gane. Ngannou learned to fucking wrestle, and then he wrestled Cyril Gane. And Cyril Gane, who's a seasoned striker, a very good striker, moves like a fucking middleweight as a heavyweight, couldn't do shit once he gets to the ground.
I think that Gon looked more silly than Covington did.
Mm-hmm. God damn it, Colby. I made such a good fucking case for you. And you fucked it. You fucked it royal. But anyway, but obviously you have that advantage. But now you're going against Tom Aspinall, who's also a really good grappler and a good striker on top of it. And that dude is crispy. His combos are very good. As far like as punch and kick combos are concerned, Tom Aspinall's much better than just about anybody. I'd love to see him and Cyril Gane go at it one day. I think that would be awesome. But I think he would just wrestle Cyril Gane, and that would be it. But
England versus France, wondering when that would happen.
Gon doesn't really like fighting all that much.
Doesn't like to show up. I think he's still top 5 though, right?
Yeah, he's still like number 1 or 2. He only fights when they're in France though, and they usually go to France in September at some point. So pretty much in September, you're guaranteed a Cyril Gane fight at some point, you know. And most of the time, he wins. But just because he goes up against other heavyweights that are once again just trying to land that big punch, that big power punch. But never goes. But once the minute he goes up against somebody that mixes it up a little bit, mixes the styles a bit more, goes for takedowns, does submission attempts, struggles a little bit. I mean, he lost 2 title fights due to grappling. He got choked out by John Jones in like 90 seconds, and then he got completely out wrestled by Francis Ngannou for rounds 3, 4, and 5 of their heavyweight title fight. And but now you have 2 guys that have pretty good grappling backgrounds that are about to go at it. So both guys that on paper have an advantage in this case, and they're going at it. But I gotta say, if you want to, I think Tom Aspinall is the better striker here. I mean, Curtis Blades mostly just boxing. This guy, he doesn't throw a whole lot of kicks, but Tom Aspinall mixes the punches and the kicks very well. He mixes the takedowns with the punches and the kicks. And obviously, I think out of anybody that's at heavyweight, Tom Aspinall and besides John Jones, I think his toughest fight is Curtis Blades, just because of that pressure wrestling background. But man, how could you not go against Tom Aspinall right now? I'm going to be totally honest with you. This dude is going to be fighting in his home country. Got robbed of a fight with John Jones because John Jones just doesn't want to get off his ass and take a drug test, and instead assaults the people there doing the drug test. And then now it doesn't look like John Jones is going to fight again for the remainder of the year if he goes into legal battles with this shit. He's originally supposed to fight in November, or at least was speculated to fight in November against Old Man Stipe. But now I don't know if that's going to happen if he's got to be dealing with all this legal shit. So
I like how I think none of this news is actually affecting Stipe. He's just being a firefighter.
like, just let Stipe be a firefighter, man. He's doing his thing. He's chilling. Like, just leave him be. Why you gotta tell Old Man Stipe, hey, I want to fight you? It's like going up to the senior citizen that used to like do boxing back in his day. Being, yo, let's box, bro. Like, nah, bro. He just wants to fucking do his bingo game for the
Or
day.
like Dana White called him up. He's like, Stipe, I got you a fight. It's gonna be big. You're gonna get paid off of it. It's gonna be great. He's like, okay, I guess I'll make time for it. And then he's like, okay, Stipe, I know I said I had you booked for a fight in November, but we're gonna put that off for a bit. So he was
Okay,
like,
fine.
can I just
All right,
be a
fine.
firefighter that day?
I'll just go back to being a firefighter. Like, bro, just leave old man Stipe be. Okay, just leave him be. Let him do his thing. Let him retire on his own terms. Don't force him to come back because you want some money fight. Just let Stipe do his thing, man. He already paid his dues. He's the greatest heavyweight ever. But man, I gotta tell you, man. I think Tom Aspinall wins this fight by whatever he wants. Honestly, he could knock him out. He could submit him. I think Tom Aspinall's going to do just fine against Curtis Blades. He might face some adversity when Curtis Blades shoots in on him. Curtis Blades is a pretty big guy. Tom Aspinall's a bit smaller. Heavyweight, well, as small as heavyweights can be. You know, he's a bit smaller than Curtis Blades for heavyweight, but I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem for him. I think I'm taking Tom Aspinall by whatever the fuck he wants. We're going to have an interim title defense, man, for the first time since the fucking early 2000s. What you got, Ant?
You kind of wrecked the ending. I was gonna put there just to irk you a little bit, but I've got Stipe winning this.
Wait, Stipe?
Oh no, Aspinall. Sorry, I just saw a five, but never mind. You remember Route 2? Were you there for that?
What?
What me and Sammy saw?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of firefighters going around in circles. It was kind of weird, but I got Aspinall. By round 4, if not round 3, honestly, he's gonna submit him, and then we will have and still
Interim champion.
champion.
Tom Aspinall. I mean, I don't know.
We're just gonna be like,
should have been John Jones, man.
you shouldn't be saying those words in that.
Shouldn't
order.
be saying and still interim champion, man. That just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
It's okay. Buffer will be the announcer.
And yeah, that's
He'll
true.
make it work.
That's true. He'll make it work. He'll make it work. But I'm telling you, if and when Tom Aspinall wins this fight against Curtis Blades, he needs to stop being nice to John Jones. He needs to go up on that fucking microphone when Joe Rogan hands it to him, right? And just tell you, and just absolutely cut the meanest promo on John Jones. Because the only way you're going to get John Jones to come out of this little John Jones loop that he's in right now is you got to poke the bear a little. You got to get him to go because he's not going to give you the fight. He doesn't want to give you the fight. He wants to fight Stipe or assault drug test people. But, you know.
I honestly think, like, they might, like, this is just speculation, but depending on how bad this legal thing goes, they might just make Aspinall champion.
I mean, I don't think Dana's going to be taking a belt off of John Jones.
Yeah, but,
But
like,
at this point, he
legal
should.
Trouble.
He should. Don't get me wrong.
We don't know where this is going with Jones. You know?
I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm thinking to myself, right? I'm thinking like, nah, man. I just don't think Dana's gonna, even though he is going through legal trouble. I just don't know if he's gonna strip him because he just loves John Jones that much.
Well, it takes another year to go through the courts.
Hey, man, Conor McGregor was absent for almost 2 years for the featherweight division before he got stripped. But man, I don't know.
On that note, how pissed do you think Buffett was that he couldn't wear that suit? Well, I mean that the suit didn't hold merit with Greggy.
Oh, with Greggy and Chandler on the
Yeah.
inside of it? Yeah, that sucked. Poor Buffer. He got that custom suit for the fucking Michael Chandler and McGregor fight that was supposed to happen earlier this month. Late last month. And now it's just, he just doesn't get to wear it. Maybe he'll save it for whenever that fight materializes. Obviously, back in news with that, Connor and Michael Chandler, they talked on Twitter a little bit. Actually, pretty respectfully. So after, obviously, the big thing that happened Saturday with Trump and shit, they were like, obviously, they both, they gave respect to, Trump for doing it, I guess, surviving getting shot at, obviously. So they were like giving him like thoughts, prayers, and shit like that. It actually unified them for a second. And then Michael Chandler was like, "Yo, oh, once a fighter, always a fighter." To the Conor McGregor's tweet saying that Trump was a fighter, right? And then once a fighter, always a fighter. I can't wait for our fight whenever that happens. And then yeah, that's what he replied to Conor McGregor with. And then Conor McGregor replied to Michael Chandler, said, "I talked to Dana today, and the new date's set, 24 for sure, right? New date is set. So we're just gonna be waiting on that announcement. It looks like it's still gonna happen before the end of the year. Will it headline the Sphere? I don't know because now there's rumors that Max Holloway and Ilya Taporia is gonna main event the Sphere, and the co-main event is going to be Sean O'Malley and Marab. Those are the rumors, though. Obviously, we don't know until Dana White hops on that Instagram live or that TikTok and says, "What's up?" Right?
You think
But
he'll add us on those?
huh?
You think he'll add us in at the
I mean, I hope so. Dana White, our TikTok is at Front Row Access, and same with our Instagram. So go ahead and tag us in that once you have the news update. Thank you very much, my friend. But so so looks like there's hope that McGregor and Chandler is gonna happen later this year, but we still have a main event to go over, guys. And this main event, it's a pretty big one, but it's the fight that made sense. It was the fight that was eventually going to happen, and it's the fight that should be happening right now, even though it might not be the most exciting fight in the world. It's what needs to happen right now for this division to move, because obviously we haven't seen Leon Edwards, our welterweight champion, since not January, December, since last December when he defended the belt against Colby Covington, and then we have not seen Bilal Muhammad since last May when he beat Gilbert Burns in Miami. So now we're finally getting the fight that is supposed to happen. Leon Edwards will be defending his championship title against Bilal Muhammad. Finally, finally, Bilal Muhammad gets his title shot. I mean, uh, I'm not Bilal Muhammad's biggest fan. I'm really not. I think he's pretty fucking boring. But do what you got to do to win the fight, my friend. But at the same time, doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna be like, yeah, Bilal Muhammad's fighting, bro. I'm gonna be like, oh, Bilal Muhammad's fighting again.
That's our seat for it.
More like back in the seat, nodding in and out. But Bilal finally gets his title shot. It's deserved. He needs it at this point. The dude's on a 9-fight winning streak. He needs this title shot at this point. He's the rightful number one contender. He's supposed to be here, and Leon, as the champion, has to do his duty to defend the title. And that's what he's doing. Yeah, he's defending the title, John Jones.
I was gonna say John Jones.
Yeah, he's defending the title, John Jones. So, even though I really don't, even though I really hate watching Bilal fight, he does deserve it. He does need to be the next one in line for this. Now, Leon's last fight, obviously against Colby, he defeated him dominantly. Once again, what the fuck, Colby? So, but Bilal, man, I mean, obviously, Leon Edwards has not lost a fight since he lost to Kamaru Usman in 2015. And obviously, the way that he got the bell, the head kick heard around the world, freaking headshot dead. Salt Lake City head kick took him out. Took him out real quick. Took out the pound.
Where the fuck is Usman?
Yeah, bro, I don't know where the fuck Usman is. Dude was about to maul Hamza if there was 2 more rounds, and got mauled by Hamza in the first round. But that's normal. Everybody gets mauled by Hamza in the first round.
And it was a short notice one too. Right?
And it was a short notice fight too. I don't know where the fuck he's been. I mean, he lost to Hamza but towards the end of that fight, man, round 2 and 3, man, Hamza was looking a little rough, bro.
Usman's built for 5 rounds.
Usman's just that cardio guy. I'm not a big Usman guy, but I do gotta say I do miss Kamaru Usman fighting. I gotta say I miss how active he was as a champion. Because as much as I love Leon Edwards. I wanted Leon Edwards to beat Kamaru Usman, and I got that. But
and everyone at the park heard you.
And everybody at the fucking campground heard me. So I was very happy that Leon Edwards won. I'm a big Leon Edwards fan. I think he's a great guy. He lets his fists and his feet do the talking. He doesn't trash talk. He kind of just all business, shows up, beats somebody up, and then leaves. And I love that. But I thought I wanted Usman to lose. I didn't like his attitude going into that fight. He was really cocky, very arrogant. And then He wins. We get the rematch. Leon wins again, and then obviously Kamaru goes and fights. Hamzat loses barely, and then just haven't seen him since. But I do gotta say, I'd miss how active Usman was as champion. I really do. He would fight pretty frequently, Mr. Kamaru Usman. And I mean, 2021, 2020, like he fought like 3 times each year. Like he was always defending that title. I mean, he beat up Gilbert Burns. He beat up Jorge Masvidal. He beat up Jorge Masvidal again. He beat up Colby Covington. He beat up Colby Covington again. And but I love the Usman and Covington fights. Those are excellent fights. If you haven't watched those, go ahead and watch them. Those are like some of the best fights you'll ever watch are those two. But I miss that because now we have Leon, and Leon not very active. Well, he's active, but not as active as Usman. You know, like he fought last 7 months ago. Like that's okay, fine. At least you get to. At least you're fighting this year, right? But like at the same time, man, I'd like to see you defend that belt once, twice, 3 times a year if you can. Like, but it is what it is. I'm happy. I'm still a big fan of Leon Edwards. I just don't like how inactive he is, even though he's not really inactive. He's just kind of moderately active. He just fights when he needs to fight, and that's it. But he doesn't go above and beyond to fight all the time, and that's what I miss about Usman. Because Usman would be like, "All right, who's next? All right, who's next?" I mean, despite me rooting against Usman pretty much every time.
Yeah, don't miss Usman's foot stomps. I'll say that for sure.
hmm
For me to get behind a fighter, it's got to be more than once a year.
Yeah,
But that's just me.
and this is what's going on. Both of these guys haven't really fought in a little while, especially Bilal Muhammad. I mean, Bilal Muhammad is on this crazy 9 fight winning streak, but like that's really spaced out. It's really really spaced out. I mean, his last time we fought was over a year ago in May of 2023 when he beat up Gilbert Burns, and Gilbert Burns was in there on short notice. So I mean, and then he beat Sean Brady in October of 2022. That's quite a bit of time in between there, about 7 months in between those two fights. Six, no, like 6, 7 months, yeah. And then he didn't before he fought the Sean Brady fight. He fought in April of 2022 against Vicente Luque for a second time and beat him. And then he wouldn't fight again until 6 months later. You know, it's really spaced out. He beat up Stephen Thompson in December of 2021, and he beat Damian Maya back in June of 2021.
What's Wonderboy been doing?
Wonderboy, I mean, he took that L to Shavkat late last year or early this year. I forget when that fight happened. It was somewhat recently, but it wasn't too recently. Stephen Thompson took that L there, but I don't know. There really hasn't been any rumors as to who he's gonna fight right now. Although I would love to see him fight Michael Venom Page at this point. They're both coming off of losses, and obviously Stephen Thompson submitted for the first time in his UFC career against Shavkat Rakhmonov, and it was just a scary prospect at welterweight. Once again, the problem with welterweight is inactivity. This really cool looking prospect in Shavkat Rakhmonov, he hasn't fought since then, and it's been a long time, man. He doesn't fight a whole lot. I'm like, here you are, you're making waves as you should. He's a good fighter, Mr. Shavkat, well-rounded, can strike, can wrestle, can submit people. I think he's got 8 submissions and 7 knockouts now. With before he was 7-7 going into the Stephen Thompson fight. I remember that. But now he's got one more submission. Maybe next fight he gets a knockout. Who the heck knows? But like the problem with Shavkat, he don't fight a lot. That's the thing with Shavkat. He just don't fight a lot, and he doesn't make a lot of headlines either. So like, not a lot of people are talking about him. Nobody's really calling him out because obviously, one, he's scary. Why would you want to fight somebody that is scary and risk your top 5 placement for this scary guy? But not a whole lot of people are saying Shavkat Rakhmonov's name. I think Ian Gary mentioned it briefly that he would be open to that fight, but only if it got brought to him. Like, he's not something that he's actively chasing after. The fight that Ian Gary wants is against Colby Covington, and Lord knows when that fucking happens, if it happens. So Colby keeps fucking ducking people.
I was gonna say he seems very good at ducking nowadays.
Yeah, Colby's just really good at fucking ducking people these days. So I don't know, but this is gonna be rather. I think it's gonna really depend on how good Leon's takedown defense is. Because their first fight, because this is a rematch, Leon Edwards and Bilal Muhammad, they fought once before in 2020. I think it was June 2020, around there, right? And they fought to a no contest because of an accidental eye poke from Leon Edwards. He accidentally eye pokes Bilal. Bilal falls down in pain because he basically got his eye gouged out of him by Leon's thumb, the poor guy.
Don't worry, the new gloves will help.
Totally. But anyway, Bilal, obviously, the doctor said he was unfit to continue. Goes down as a doctor stoppage and a no contest to an accidental eye poke. And then we thought that fight was going to get rescheduled sooner rather than later, but then it didn't. And then Leon was going to go and fight Masvidal, and then he didn't. They got rebooked against Bilal again, but then I think Leon got COVID, and then after that fight was pretty much gone in a way because I think Bilal Muhammad went on to fight somebody else. I forget who. It might have been Damian Maia or somebody else. It's either Damian Maia or the guy he beat before Damian Maia. And then Leon got booked against Jorge Masvidal again for December of 2021, and then Masvidal pulled out because he got COVID. And then I'm like, those fights just never materialized as much as we would have loved to see the rematch between the Leon and Bilal earlier than it ended up being. And then obviously the 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 pieces didn't fall into play for them at all because then Leon ended up in a title shot after Bilal Muhammad went inactive for a bit, and then Leon beats Kamaru, and now he's got to beat Colby, and well, Kamaru again, then Colby, and it just never really materialized the rematch between Leon and Bilal. And one match that we'll never get to see, unfortunately, will be Masvidal and Leon Edwards as well. That would have been a great fight to watch, my humble opinion, but unfortunately, never ended up being that way. Plus, they got some unsettled beef. Mr. Masvidal and Leon Edwards. Obviously, Masvidal's infamous three-piece in a soda that he gave to Leon Edwards backstage at a press conference once. So that fight never got to materialize, and neither did this Bilal Muhammad fight until now, because now everything fell into play. Obviously, Leon got the belt, defeated Usman twice, and then he fought Colby, and now Bilal kept winning, so then Bilal gets the title fight. So now is the time for them. 4 years in the making, this fucking rematch, and a bunch of random things went in all sorts of directions. I couldn't tell you, but now it's finally here. And mind you guys, in that fight that ended in a no contest, yes, it was 4 years ago. Obviously, fighters aren't the same. 4 years apart, you never know. It's not the same fighter each time. There's been some time in between their fight. But Leon was fucking destroying Bilal in that fight until the eye poke. And I'm thinking that this fight ends up playing out the same way. Because in my opinion, if Leon Edwards is able to stuff Usman takedowns, he can stuff Bilal takedowns. And Colby takedowns, for that matter.
You think Edwards is gonna eye poke him again?
I hope not. I
He's
really,
going down the same way.
I really hope not. But I think, before the eye poke, how that fight was going, Leon was putting the pressure on. He was having his way with him, getting the jab, getting the leg kick going. Even landed a partial head kick on him that wobbled him for a second. And Leon was just doing excellent against Bilal. But obviously, worst came to worst, and Leon accidentally eye poked him. But I think now that Leon is at this ultimate level of he's been really good at welterweight as the welterweight champion. I mean, you beat Kamaru Usman in what seemed like a fluke victory, but at least I knew, that Leon had it in him to beat Usman. Just that night was a little bit different. He said the elevation got to him. I don't know if that's really what the fact of the matter was, but it could have been. It was pretty high up there. Air's kind of thin. Might have been humid in there. Breathing's a little bit harder when it's humid. So, but Usman seemed just fine. But then again, he's used to it because he fights at Elevation Fight Team in Denver. He trains there, so maybe that did have a partial part of it, but I don't think it was the entire reason why Leon wasn't doing too good. I think it was something else that was going on, maybe some underlying things. But then, fuck it, in the rematch, he destroyed him. In the rematch, he easily beat Usman. Like, 4-1, I would say. Or,
Yeah.
like, 4-1, I'm pretty sure he beat Usman. And mind you, Usman was just pound for pound number one who got caught by a kick, right? It was supposed to be a fluke victory. Then Leon Edwards said, nah, motherfucker, I am that good. And I just beat him. And everybody's like, oh, surely he's not going to get past Colby. Yeah, me being one of them. And then he fucking handled Colby. And then now I'm like, I got faith in my boy once again. I mean, Bilal usually his striking isn't as crispy as Leon's is. He leaves himself open a little bit, throws pretty wide punches, leaves his hand out there a little bit. So Leon could easily just come in with an uppercut or a kick or something to get him. And also, if he's able to stuff Usman and Covington takedowns, and then even take Colby Covington down later in the fight, then I don't think he's gonna have a problem with Bilal Muhammad, man. I think Leon sparks him in the third round, knockout. What you think, Ant?
I think that Bump and Grind is going to be listened to at least 200 times in the prep for this.
Yes, sir.
By Bilal.
Of course.
So I also don't think that Leon handed Colby 4-1. What is it you said?
No, not even. I think he got a 50-45 on one of the judges' scorecards, or a 49-46 on two others.
I think he handled whoever the fuck that was in the ring with Leon that night.
Yeah, whoever the fuck that was.
I don't know.
That wasn't Colby.
But as far as this match goes, when you get the championship, I heard your increase is like 30 or 60%.
You got 30% better.
And Edwards has yet to let me down. Plus, I'm not as big a fan of Bump and Grind by R. Kelly.
Nope.
So I'm going to say Edwards gets the second round knockout.
Second round, all right.
I want it to be the Salt Lake City knockout.
That would be awesome if he just fucking does that shit again. In his hometown this time. Right? Same kick, same cross kick combo. That would be fucking awesome. But anyway, I ain't got nothing else. You got anything else?
I just want a response from Jones on what the fuck he's doing.
Well, I don't know if we're going to be getting that, but thank you guys for giving us your time and for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next time as I think about what we're going to do for the next episode. See ya!